Abigail Lee Group 2. We were discussing LGBT adoption rights as our topic. I found an article in Fine Law 2018 related to issues and concerns that social workers and potential birth mothers have in relation to LGBT parents for adoption. Some of it asked about sexual orientation, trying to understand exactly what the sexual orientation of lay, lesbian, transgender, and bisexual actually means. And then they also, because they thought that, or they were worried about the fact that if their child was raised by an LGBTY parent, that they would end up being gay or lesbian themselves. But that has always been found that doesn't necessarily mean true. As well as they thought, or they think that having a gay man raise their child, that their child would be at risk for being abused sexually or molested. But yet findings show that 74% in a study were actually heterosexual men that abused the children, or male children specifically, and those men actually were partnered with either their mother or another female family member in their lifetime. So it was not that they were considered homosexual at all, but they were heterosexual. So the risk for that is actually very low compared to in other studies. And then the other questions that are asked are relating to whether or not they're going to be harassed or bullied more than because of the fact that their parent is an LGBT. But also studies find that, LGBT community unfortunately has had a bad rap of getting bullied themselves growing up, and they've dealt with a lot of issues and concerns on their own. And so as a parent that then is raising a child who could be straight or could be gay, they understand concerns and they have those ability to address them from the past of themselves having been bullied at times. So they're able to be a better partner in that because they understand more of what would be going on and happening for that child. And then they also wonder whether or not that child is going to grow up with problems in an LGBT household versus living in a heterosexual household. But yet there's questions and there's concerns and there's issues that could come up whether they're in an LGBT household or in a heterosexual household that really just has to be addressed as any parent would have to address it at the time that it occurs. It doesn't mean they're going to have fewer, it doesn't mean they're going to have more. It just depends and varied from child to child, and that's something that parents all over, whether they're LGBT or heterosexual, have to address and do as they go on. Their article does summarize the fact that these concerns needs to be addressed, and people need to understand these unfounded fears that they think just because a child is going to be raised by LGBT that they're going to become part of that lifestyle or they're going to be turned in some way. But that's not how it is. That's what goes back to the sexual orientation, how that's something that they have at birth and that's some condition they go through, and they are who they are regardless of who parents raise them, because heterosexuals have raised LGBTY children and LGBTY children have raised heterosexual children. It doesn't matter the sexual orientation of the parent. A child just needs to be loved and cared for and know that they're wanted and needed. And that's the biggest thing with adoption, is getting these children someplace where they're needed and loved. Thank you.